Welcome. My name is DB Bedford, co-founder of EI365 Agency, and I'm super excited that you're taking a quick moment to learn more about our signature program called Behavior by Design. Here at EI365, we've created a system that's specifically designed to neutralize workplace incivility. So hello, neighbor. This training program, it helps close communication gaps, improve teamwork, and manage stress, giving you and your team those practical tools to build trust, resolve those conflicts early, and foster a culture of respect and empathy. Now, let's talk a little bit about civility. See, civility is about showing respect and courtesy and watching how we speak and act towards each other, particularly when things are challenging, when things are tense. And see, that's the key word because time and time again, we've discovered that everything is good until it's not. There are three important micro moments during the day that we need to pay close attention to. And that is when someone discovers something that they don't like, they don't understand, or they don't agree with. Things tend to start moving toward incivility when they run across someone they don't like. So remaining civil is easy when we are getting our way. Remaining civil is easy when everything is in flow. And this is when the skill is needed the most. Because listen, incivility, when it's emotionally charged, that's when we start getting people being dismissive, disrespectful, devaluing others. And here's where it's really, really tricky. It's so subtle and overt. Like these behaviors disrupt emotional safety in a shared space. And it don't always break policy, but you can bet your bottom dollar that each incident is breaking down people. So here are a couple of behaviors that you need to look out for. We have identified the top 11 behaviors. I'm going to share a few with you today that really get things ramped up in a work environment. And that is when people are being rude and disrespectful. And I want you to think about it. I want you to think about when you feel like someone is being rude, discourteous, or disrespectful. Just think about how it makes you feel inside. Because the same way you feel, other people feel the same way. When people are on the team that create conflict instead of avoiding it, that means that they rather talk more about the problem than the solution. Or when people are overreacting and just responding without giving things some thought. Does any of this sound familiar to you? People being rude and disrespectful, people that create conflict instead of avoiding it, people who overreact and respond without giving things just a little bit of thought. Well, there's a study that SHRM did, the Society of Human Resource Managers, and they suggest that for every negative experience that's happening in the work environment, 37 minutes of productivity is going down the drain. And so when you think about that, what does that mean? That means that when someone experiences something negative, some of those behaviors I just mentioned, or anything that makes a person feel uncomfortable, that makes a person feel anything other than joy, it's going to slow down their work. And in some cases, people are going to stop working. Why? Because they need a break. I just need to take a break after that. They might go scrolling, right? They may have to go over and vent to someone else. And look what's happening. All while they're in that conversation, if they go talk to somebody else, guess what? Now you got two people not working. If they catch a group in the break room and break is almost over and they still talking about it, now you got multiple people not working. So no one has ever went back and started working extremely hard after being angry. Well, at least not most people, which means that the cost of not addressing these behaviors is critical. But the fact that you're here and you're interested in this conversation leads me to believe that you understand the value of addressing workplace incivility. Now, what we like to do is provide what we call the Civility Index, right, as an assessment. If you haven't taken it already, I encourage you to take it because it will give you your emotional climate, okay, your emotional climate of your team. And what you will find out is whether your environment has clear skies or a category 5. And this is just a wide range. Clear skies, meaning you got more civil behavior than not. And any uncivil behavior, you are handling it before it escalates. Partly cloudy is saying that, hey, you're getting a little bit more incivility. People are feeling it. They're just not saying nothing yet. Wind advisory is like any given day, right? It could be a little bit of chaotic. Storm watch is when you come into work and you can feel the tension, right, in the air amongst a few people or amongst a policy that's changed. But you understand, you can feel that people are tense. You can feel that people are not satisfied. That's a storm watch. And then the category 5 is when you have more people than not just not getting along. Or you have a small group or sometimes even a one person that's just way up there, but they're causing tension amongst everyone. And everybody knows this person's a problem, but nobody's doing anything about it. So civilityindex.com helps you understand where your emotional climate is at because you want to start addressing this. There's a saying that says, you'll never be able to manage what you're not willing to measure. And the cost of not addressing uncivil behavior, 1 in 4 employees will leave their jobs or their positions due to incivility. So what does that mean? People are willing to handle stressful workloads, but what they're not willing to do is continuously deal with stressful people. So that's where we come in at, where we offer the EI365 core experience. So we deliver a very powerful, interactive, real world scenario based training to get you and your team to understand how to really neutralize behavior when it's happening in the moment so we can get the better outcomes. And then at the end of the training, we enroll everyone into our civility system program. Have you ever participated in a training and then by Monday morning you forgot what you learned? Well, that won't happen with us because we have a 2 week follow-up period where each day we drip out micro lessons to you and your team to reinforce each principle that you learned inside of your training. And this was created so you come out the classroom, back to the boardroom, back to the hallways, back on the field, back in motion, taking what you learned and actually applying it. So let's talk a little bit more about the civility system because this is important. The civility system, each day you get a micro lesson delivered to your phone or email, whichever one you choose, that goes over the principle of the day. And then sooner you're done with the principle and each micro lesson, it's 5 minutes or less. And then you go over to your civility book, which has a short chapter, 5 to 8 pages, designed for you to reinforce what you just picked up in your micro lesson. And then you follow the blueprint and you focus on what we call the 24-hour strategy, which means you get a singular focus for the next 24 hours on the principle that you learned for the day, again, to give you an opportunity to digest it, embody it, and actually practice it. And then you take a scenario for execution and then you rinse and repeat. And you do this over an 11-day period. And then what happens is that at the end of your 11 principles, you end up with an assessment that will let you know how you respond to situations, whether you do it more logically, more emotionally, a little bit of both, and it will identify your communication style. So we're proud to be able to bring this opportunity for over 10 years to a lot of organizations. In fact, we've done this for over 100 organizations. We've done well over 300 trainings, put this in front of at least 10,000 attendees, and we have a lot of 5-star reviews. You can go to Google and check those out. We've been trusted by a lot of large organizations. And so that's why we are honored that you have given us your time and you're considering bringing us in to help promote civility in your work environment. And thanks again for your time. My name is DB Bedford, better known as the EI guy. And when we do the training, you will hear a powerful story of transformation, how I went from the justice system to public service, how I've spent the last 10 years helping teams neutralize workplace incivility through the daily practice of emotional intelligence. These signature frameworks that I'm talking about, they include what we call the EI Code of Conduct, which is 11 self-operating principles. And I'm proud to say I'm known for my relatable style and creating tools that are practical and powerful. I like to teach leaders how to pause with purpose, lead with clarity, and make civility the new standard in the workplace.
Brian, what did you feel about the training today?
It was awesome. And most importantly, how refreshing. In today's environment, all we're talking about is AI, artificial intelligence, artificial intelligence. And after today, it's exactly what it is, artificial. Today, it's about emotional intelligence, and emotional is personal. And the connection that you brought, not only do we work every single day, but I know that inside there, everybody was thinking about their family as well. That's why we get up every single day is go to work, but putting that connection and of how important it is from an emotional standpoint to understand who we're talking to and then have them understand us better. And like I said, I thought about home a lot and how I communicate with my kids and how I communicate with my wife, but most importantly, how we come to work every single day and how important it is that we understand that and know that. And at Valley Strong, we were thinking about each other and our team members, but towards the end, I was thinking how beneficial this is going to be for our members.
Exactly.
For the people we serve every day. So how refreshing was today? I'm just leaving excited and fired up.
This is one of our favorite feedback quotes we were doing with a banking institution. And he said afterwards, he said, we had strong skills, but a weak connection. The civility system gave them the language and awareness so they can bridge the gap. So the number one question you should ask yourself when you show up each and every day, got civility? Thank you so much for your time and attention. I would love to answer any question that you might have. And don't forget to take down the Civility Index. So even if you're taking it yourself, take this moment to share it with other members of your team so you can get the perspective from others on what the emotional climate might be in your work environment.